Now, folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
I believe John Fury genuinely wanted to hurt KSI. You know, he threw a bottle at KSI. KSI spit his chewing gum back. And that hasn't sat well with John, has it? He feels he's been disrespected. When KSI and Tommy went in the cage so they couldn't get at each other, someone in the crowd barked, let John in the cage, and John went in the cage. And when he started smashing that cage, KSI security had to take him out. Now, if the intimidation tactics have worked, then it's a stroke of genius by John and Tommy. But if it hasn't worked, and perhaps had the opposite effect where KSI really wants to hurt Tommy now, Tommy could be in some shit. I'm telling you, he could be in some deep shit. You know? Dad ain't in the ring. Tyson ain't in the ring. Your brothers ain't in the ring. And that's the thing with people who click up with people. When you're on your own, what are you saying? That fight is now very interesting to me. I'm telling you. Fighting is as much mental as it is physical. It always has been.
24 fucking hours. What's going on here? 24 fucking hours. 24 fucking hours. 24 hours, you piece of shit. 24 hours, you piece of shit.
Now, whoever made that reinforced perspex glass.
Very industrial language. And regular boxing, and I'm just going to say in the UK, can't promote boxing like the Misfits. They can't. They haven't got hope in all truth. That doesn't mean they'll go out like the dinosaur. But unless you start getting Richard Riakporhe, Fraser Clark not dropping out of purse bids and not taking fights because the fights are not with their broadcaster, then boxing, pro boxing is going to be looked on as a joke in the UK. You know, the domestic market, not all that right now. Very industrial language. You see them both in the cage, banging the cage. Here's a side-by-side of both of them on the scales, and Tommy just looks significantly bigger. I really don't know how this inexperienced boxer, KSI, overcomes that. I don't think Tommy's that good a fighter. I think KSI has to pot shot him at long range. I hope he can land something and take Tommy out. But if it gets into a physical match, which is a more likely scenario than KSI being able to just pot shot Tommy at range and not get hit, what does he do? It's hard to see what KSI does. He hasn't got the experience to deal with the lactic acid fighting a guy this size. But I'm intrigued. Yeah, man. Clifton Mitchell, a.k.a. Puddy Riley. Yeah, Clifton don't talk about that, man. You know what I mean? When he was coming up as a heavyweight back in the day. Brendan Ingle, in an attempt to get Clifton more popularity, decided to nickname him Puddy Riley. If you don't know who Clifton Mitchell is, he's a 6'3" black man. He used to be a heavyweight contender, fought James Oyabola for the heavyweight title. He was winning the fight until he leaned back.
Lean back as fuck!
With his hands down and got caught with that right hand, that bloody Winkerbank style. Gift of the curse, gift of the curse. Anyway, he's currently the trainer of Sandy Ryan, and he does a lot of security work around the venues as well. So he's there at the KSI Fury event. He might be training a fighter. What was up with that interview today with the 2 round card girls? Why do you do this job? You get a lot of dick pics in the DMs, and then at the end of the interview said something about his dick in the mouth or something. Like, what happened there? Was he drinking? Lord of mercy. Now, I'm not outraged about it. It is what it is, but a lot of people are complaining about IFL with that vid. They are complaining, saying they're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. And it's not like they didn't have the opportunity to edit the video or not put it out. They just put it out. But it's their brand. You know what I mean? People like that content, innit? It's kind of like the Misfits seem to bring out the worst in a lot of people. Now, before anyone says, yeah, the Misfits, yeah, no. It's not the Misfits. It's not the Misfits. It's the people acting up, right? It's not the Misfits. These are grown adults, and IFL didn't have to put the video out. And like I said, I'm not outraged.
For like the whole experience, really. When
you think your Instagram following will get bigger and all your social medias will get bigger because you're on this, or what? You get more in your inbox now. Yeah.
Who gets more?
Who gets the most? Those are dick pics and that in the inbox. I know.
John Fury has declared that Anthony Joshua must beat Deontay Wilder in order to earn a fight with Tyson Fury. They've all got to face Wilder to get to the Gypsy King. If AJ is good enough, let him beat Wilder, and that makes this fight mega big. But at the moment, it's dead because he doesn't deserve it. He can't face a few bums and face the Gypsy King, can he? Well, It depends what you call a bump, John, doesn't it? If AJ earns a #1 ranking, then he'll be in line to fight Usyk, Fury, or whoever has the belts when it's time. That's as simple as that. But when the likes of Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin, who wasn't nothing when Tyson fought him for the lineal title, or this guy here, Francis Ngannou, what about Derek Chisora? How come they didn't have to fight Wilder, is the question. Now, that's a separate issue from AJ and Wilder screwing this fight up. I blame both of them. Yeah? Because they're not getting that Saudi bag and the fight won't pay as much. They're both walking away from it. That's what it seems to me, and I can't respect that. These are two 6'6", 6'7" heavyweights, millionaires, who should be able to take their careers into their own hands. It would take 2 minutes to set up a conference call between the two and discuss why the fight is breaking down, or perhaps discuss how they can salvage the fight. They did nothing. There are no excuses. Wilder doing videos about going down on his granddad or eating Twinkies full with semen with his wife. Stop it, man. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want to hear nothing about him being some great all-time heavyweight. I don't want to hear it. And before you start, I've never said Joshua is some all-time great heavyweight, because he's not. They're both deep into their 30s. Wilder significantly older than AJ. We've been talking about this fight since 2017. It's gone into Mayweather-Pacquiao territory now. Both of them in their last step-up fights were beaten twice by the same dude. Was it Wilder doing reality TV? Joshua swanning around being a model for Hugo Boss? Where's the fights? Where's the fights? You've got sections of fans going back and forth with each other talking shit. Why don't you just fight and get it over with?
Let's get this shit over with.
And look, I just want to see the fight, to be honest, you know. But as long as AJ can stomach the likes of Andy Ruiz here saying he's scared to take the fight, that's why it hasn't happened. That's a lot of people's perception, is that AJ's scared to take the fight. I don't agree with that, but I'm not prepared to go back and forth with Wilder fans and AJ just lays back while they're saying that shit. Just let them say what they're saying. AJ's brought a lot of it on himself. If you look at his record from being an amateur and professional, there's nothing to suggest that he's scared to fight anybody. But that's the perception they're putting out there. But yo, on the positive side, forget what they're saying. If he's going to fight in December on the Eubank Ben fight, he's keeping momentum, he's keeping busy. He's the most busiest top 10 heavyweight out there. And that's what he should do, if that's the case. That's what he should do. There's no point going back and forth with Wilder. There's no point. He should only come out and talk if there's positive news about the fight happening. Have you noticed that Wilder is not saying anything about the lack of progress with the AJ fight? He's letting Malik say it all. And I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. They think people are stupid. But I ain't stupid, right? Shelley Finkel and Wilder, they're taking a leaf out of the Al Heyman book. If you don't say anything, then you can't incriminate yourself. You can't leave a paper trail behind you. But the likes of Hearn, yeah, December, it's locked in for December. It's going to happen, it's going to happen. And then when it don't happen, they're looking at you and they're looking at AJ because you've done all the talking, Eddie. Let's keep it real. While Shelley Finkel doesn't have to explain nothing to nobody. While Wilder's ducked a whole load of fights. And you know what really pisses me off? Is this Wilder is the one who gets ducked when he's done the most ducking in his career. That really pisses me off. That really pisses me off. Him, Luis Ortiz and their fake boogeyman shit over there. Malik Scott's an idiot. AJ don't want to fight. He doesn't campaign hard enough. Look, Malik, there's no belt at stake right now. Because AJ or Wilder are not that hot right now. Go look at Wilder's last pay-per-view numbers for the Helenius fight. When AJ was the draw, when they put up 120 million for Wilder to fight AJ, Wilder turned it down and admitted to Tyson Fury he'd get more. They were putting up more for him to fight AJ than they were for him to fight Fury. And he turned it down. So all this AJ has to be jumping up and down. When that fight was really worth something for Undisputed, the offer was there for Wilder to take it. So Malik, you need to calm down. You know, you can start with Luis Ortiz. AJ never take no good fight, never take no good fights. But when he had his opportunity, he didn't take it. Wilder didn't take his. Fury had great opportunities to fight AJ for Undisputed and just for the unified titles. He didn't take them. But is AJ scared of them? There's something AJ's done wrong for the perception that he's the scared fighter, when it's not true. There's something he's done wrong. You know what the facts are, Malik? Is AJ didn't have to do no campaigning. The money was on the table for a lot of fighters to take fights with AJ, but they never took the fights for whatever reason, including Dillian White. who was offered that fight at Wembley for 2019, which Wilder and Fury turned down. And then after Dillian said he wasn't offered the fight, when he clearly turned it down. And then when he got the fight this year, you saw what happened. You know something? Listen, maybe AJ's just had enough. Just had enough and he's just moving on. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Isn't it funny Malik is coming out blaming AJ for the fight not happening now? And Andy Ruiz is saying AJ is scared. Because they're planning Wilder versus Ruiz. And what better way to sell it but tell the whole world that AJ's scared to fight. Scared to fight, scared to fight. I can't stand them fuckers over there. This one was a non-story from the start, really. The WBA have released a statement confirming that the low blow controversy where the challenger Daniel Dubois hit Alexander Usyk with a borderline shot, depending on how you want to argue, illegal, legal. Usyk was given 4 minutes to recover, as permitted when you are hit with a low blow. You're actually allowed 5 minutes, Usyk took 4. Queensbury, they wanted the decision reversed to perhaps get Daniel a rematch. Frank Warren knew he was never going to win this case, but it's good publicity for Daniel. And now Frank can get back to the job of trying to cash Daniel out with the likes of Anthony Joshua. Daniel, no more than domestic level, in all truth, with a decent punch. I'd like to see him fight the winner out of Wardley and Adilier. That's what I'd like to see. It says here that the appeal has not met the burden of proof, meaning it's a whole load of tosh in it, Frank. Let's give it up. 26th of December in Japan. Inoue, 25-0, 22 inside the distance, will put his WBC and WBO 122-pound titles at stake, while the Philippines, Marlon Tapales, 37-3, 19 inside the distance, will risk his WBA and IBF titles in an undisputed unification. Anyway, not hanging about, 30 years of age. And I don't see him staying in the game too long. There's really no need for him to stay in the game that long. I'm just assuming he's going to beat Marlon Tapales. Decent fighter. But you know, he'll be 2-time 4-belt undisputed champion like Terence Crawford is. He's already an all-time great. So what is there to stick around for much longer? Will he go up to feather and try and take belts there is the question. I mean, the Stephen Fulton fight wasn't even funny. Hasn't been the distance since 2019. But yo, let's see if Tapales can make it competitive, because Inoue's been in with the best of his weight classes. There's been no resistance really since the Nonito Donaire fight. I have to go back to 2017, 2016 for when I thought Inoue should have been in the mix with the likes of Gonzalez, Estrada, Rungvisai, and he wasn't. But since then, it's been flawless. Tapales, who upset Akhmadaliev last time out and took his 2 belts. Southpaw, crafty, counter-puncher, doesn't have a great gas tank. He's going to have to come out of his shell and do a little more than what he usually does to win this fight, I believe. See, the thing is, the likes of Stephen Fulton, Akhmadaliev and Tapales, I don't think much separates them. I don't think there's much that separates them. Also, Tapales, 31. I'm looking at the box rec. Since 2019, he's had 1 fight a year. What's that all about? That's probably why the gas tank against Akhmadaliev wasn't where it needed to be. Although he won the fight. But he needs to be way fitter and prepared to commit to way more attrition if he's going to have any chance against Inoue. Predictably, Lomachenko fans are running to his defense. I put up a little post on Twitter asking why he's fighting George Kambosos rather than Shakur Stevenson. I mean, how sad are they really to defend the indefensible? You're talking about a pro who's had 20 fights. And I don't care how much amateur fights he's had. I'm talking about pros. He's had 20 fights. He's been fighting 2 fights a year since 2018. Yeah? Fought once in 2020, twice in 2021, once last year, once this year in June, and said he's taking the rest of the year off. So why couldn't he have just come out and said, look, I need the rest of the year off, but early January, I promise I'll fight Shakur Stevenson. No, he didn't do that. He opted to fight Kambosos, who everybody think was beaten by Maxie Hughes. So you can fanboy for him all you like. You don't have the skills with the receipts to get out of this. You don't. I hear that Kambosos fight is going to be for one of Devin's old straps. They should dub the fight between the two who didn't want the smoke with Shakur. Now, not very catchy, but it's real. He's 35, he's old. That didn't stop him fighting an undersized, old Rigondeaux, did it? And then you know what they're going to come back and say, Rigondeaux asked for the fight, Well, Shakur asked for the smoke too. You got Nathan back. He's a good fighter, Lomachenko, but he's not who the media says he is, and he certainly ain't who the fans say he is.